Hello there, coming to you from the basement dungeon style area at the hostel where my bike is currently living, and it has just started to rain pretty fiercely as was predicted. There was a part of me that still exists, and I was just like, I don't feel like I have anything to say. But that is a common occurrence, and every single time I have ever felt that way, I have been wrong. So I decided that I should probably make a clip now before tending to the remaining needfuls for the day. It is 7:06 p.m. Monday, September 22nd. And yeah, it's a little bit warmer down here. I'm going to need to should grab my umbrella while I'm thinking about it, because I'm going to be going for a little bit of a wet walk. How's it going? I like the reorganization down here. Yeah, I'm not sure if you were a part of it necessarily, but there's a lot more room for the bikes. So.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. They're always shifting everything. But we have them, I think I saw like 4 bikes the other day.
Yeah, it was quite a few. It was a little congested. Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, man. Well, thank y'all. So, anyway. Yeah, I'm just going to go over the chronology. If anything else comes to mind, I will talk about that as well. But yeah, man. Unfortunately, it's projected and forecasted to rain quite a bit over the next 48 hours. It does look like it'll taper off towards the evening in Golden as well, but it will also be 25 degrees colder tomorrow than the high for today. I think the high for tomorrow is in the low 50s, and the low is in the low 40s. So it's kind of wild. I would have loved if this weather had shown up sooner, The first couple of days I was here, if it had been rainy, I would have been like, man, this is so great. Not that it hasn't been, but I would feel extra validated for deciding to take, 9 days off of my trip. And so, yeah, in any case, I certainly have been feeling a bit stir crazy. And let me think, what did I even do today? Checking my email now just to see a little thing that will be relevant as I go over the chronology. But from what I recall, yesterday I went for a pretty long walk. Trying to remember I recorded my clip yesterday in the middle of that walk. And it ended up being just shy of 11 miles. And that was cool because I really didn't plan on doing that necessarily, but it felt good to do. It's been a while since I've just walked around somewhere as my chosen means of transportation, So it felt good to move, and it felt more appropriate to be on foot than it did on bike, just because I don't really know where I'm going, and I don't really want to be looking at my bike computer the entire time while I'm trying to determine how best to travel a 5-mile distance or whatever it is. Better to do that by foot. And like I said, I found $10, and that was cool. I gave the $11 that I found yesterday to a homeless man who I saw on my way home today. And I was just I don't know, something about him specifically. He was in a wheelchair. He was in a raised median on a pretty busy road, not quite a highway, but a 2 or 3 lane in both directions kind of highway. And I was just this dude looks like he's probably about to have a hard go of it. I don't even know how he got up on this little raised area, this median, and I don't know where he's going to go once the bottom falls out. So it seems to me $11 could make the difference between a good evening and a bad evening for him. I just hope he does use that money responsibly, whatever that ends up meaning, to whatever degree it does for him. So anyway, I woke up around 8 again this morning, which is becoming a habit hard to break. I stay up so much later when I'm indoors. It's kind of crazy. If I was outside right now, I don't really know what I would be doing. I'd probably be in a park somewhere. I probably would have prioritized finding some sort of covered area, and then kind of battened down the hatches and just hoped that I had accounted for everything well enough to stay dry, relatively speaking. But in any case, I don't have to worry about that. I'm not out there tonight. I'm still at the 11th Avenue Hostel, established in 1903. So, yes, woke up at 8. I was kind of hungry last night when I went to bed. I guess I'd eaten too early or something. Or maybe it was just I ate in the middle of my walk and then continued walking afterwards. And I ended up actually doing 2 additional miles because I came back to the hostel and they have a cafe, and I wanted to get a large decaf Americano. And I ordered it, and the guy who was working was like, "Oh, I just closed up the espresso bar." And it was like 7:30, and the cafe doesn't close until 9. And I was like, "Well, why'd you do that?" I didn't say that. I was just like, "Okay, well, that's no problem. You know, I can figure something else out. I can go to a different cafe." Or, as I ended up doing, I just went to Trader Joe's and bought some decaf coffee and filters and stuff like that. Because I was like, I could take this with me, and I could make decaf coffee. It might become more of a staple for me as the winter, or the fall, really, first. The fall and the winter kind of start to come on, you know. It might be nice to have that as a nightcap, you know, without the actual caffeine worries. But yeah, so this morning, as I continued trying to start, woke up hungry and had this fantasy of going to Whole Foods and hoping that they would have a breakfast hot bar, which they didn't, and I was actually very surprised by. They did have some breakfast burritos that left a lot to be desired, and they were also just extremely hot, which was unfortunate because I had quite an appetite, but didn't really want to burn my mouth as much as I ended up doing, but I couldn't really help myself. And so that was a little bit disappointing because I was really hungry. I probably should have just made my own breakfast. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Get some bacon and eggs, as it were, and you know, really do it right. Checkout is 11, and so I can make a big breakfast and kind of, you know, munch on that for a bit. Maybe I'm hungry right now. I feel like I'm talking about food a lot. But yeah, so Whole Foods, that was kind of whatever. Came back to the hostel, and then my roommate, Steele, was up, and we talked for a bit. I think he's actually flown out now at this point. And it was nice to hang out with him a little bit and catch up with what he'd been doing and going through and stuff. You know, it's just a revolving door of characters here, and it's cool when you meet one who you kind of resonate with and can feel comfortable with. And there's another guy in his space now. I don't know anything about him yet. He was asleep when I went up there earlier. And I know that this is like a hostel, and so there's a lot of people coming from different time zones all over the world. But it has been a little inconvenient when I go into the dorm room hoping to do something and someone is asleep. You know, I don't really want to disturb them, as I'm about to have to kind of do. I'm going to have to put all my clothes on and get into wet mode, you know, put my shoes on, which I haven't worn in a long time. I don't think I have worn shoes, properly closed-toed shoes, since I got these sandals, actually, which has been really nice. I actually have quite an impressive tan. Well, impressive is not really probably the right adjective. It's more just like an interesting tan line. You know, again, I've never really exposed a large portion of my leg before to the sun, so it's been nice to be able to do that for like the first time in my life. And it's interesting also to kind of watch the mechanics of my feet when I'm pedaling, because I've never really seen what my toes do or what my foot does. It kind of cups the pedal. You know, it's interesting to watch. But anyway, today the main errand on the agenda was to go to Best Buy in Aurora, which unfortunately I will have to do again tomorrow. It is only 12 miles, so it's possible that depending on the situation, maybe I'll walk there. I actually don't like the idea of this already. A 24-mile walk and then biking out to Golden to do a 20-mile bike ride. If the weather is going to be disagreeable, that doesn't sound good. But maybe I'll do some kind of a version of it. Maybe the hostel would let me keep my bike here. I don't know. I'll have to think about all this. But I went to Best Buy, hoping against hope that they would have received my glasses already, the Meta ones that I ordered for live streaming. And it seems like it's possible that they did receive them, but at least one of the employees who I spoke to, because I went by there twice today just in hopes that it would arrive while I was in the area. But the second employee who I spoke to the second time, she was like, yeah, the stuff is probably already here, but it won't be out and available until tomorrow. And I was like, man, I had a sense that it was bad customer service. I felt like this person was making a decision that they weren't going to help me, which is fair enough, you know. I haven't gotten an email that said the product is ready, so in fairness, I'm asking them to go above and beyond in service industry, although that is kind of their motto and guiding light. Obviously they have their own lives and whatever. So I'm happy to say that I went for a 28-mile bike ride today, and it really didn't feel like it. I did a bunch of kind of errands in addition to going to Best Buy. I also went to a guitar center. I had like a second urge to play guitar at some point today because I was thinking this hostel would be so much better if they had a guitar. I'm having a parallel thought right now. I'm thinking if the weather is actually really bad tomorrow, I might just go to the other hostel that is the Ember hostel and spend the night there. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I could keep everything more so dry, and I wouldn't have to worry about the time considerations. So you'll have to forgive me. As I work through the chronology, sometimes it bleeds into the day before and the day after. But in any case, I just basically went around town, went to a grocery store, got some apples, of course. And like I said, went to Guitar Center, had some coffees at different cafes, and the Best Buy thing was a bust buy. But that was fair enough. I just wanted to have something to do. And came back and kind of had decided that I was going to do some push-ups. I'm actually 20 behind the schedule because I ended up talking to a friend who I also met here named Guy, who is in his 70s and used to most recently live in Mexico, and he was just telling me a little bit about where he's been and his life story and everything. He's a cool guy. He's also been reading a book that he found in the library that he highly recommends, so he said that he's going to give it to me after he finishes it, and I think I might take it with me. I had some vague ideas about taking the Bill Bryson book with me, but it's so big and bulky, and I'm not really sure that I want to continue reading it. I've kind of already gotten to a point where I started to get bored. I told my mom about that. I was like, it was very interesting for the first 100 pages, but it seems like the general formula of the book is like, introduce a part of the house that has a specific name, such as the hall or the I guess the scullery is where I left off, which I don't even really know what that is. But I just found my mind wandering a lot when I was trying to read, because I was just like, well, I kind of get it. Like every single room that we go through, it's going to have some sort of like Roman or Greek or like Victorian origin, and he'll just explain how that came to a modern context and why the things that are the way that they are the way that they are. And so yeah, I don't know if it would be better as an audiobook, but my sense is probably not. So, anyway, my plans for the evening, and it is drawing upon a later hour, so I need to really get moving. I think I'm going to walk to Trader Joe's, pick up some things to make a pretty modest dinner. I have a little bit of kimchi left, a little bit of butter. I don't have any eggs, so again, if I'm going to make a big breakfast, I could definitely plan on doing that. Maybe Guy would want some of it if I make it too big. A bunch of bacon, a bunch of eggs. And what else? I think I'm going to pack up my bike tonight, so I'll be able to do some organizational needfuls while listening to the Dixon Janes podcast. Actually, shout out to the Scarborough dude himself. There was some point, there's this specific episode, and I won't go into details too much, but I've talked to him about it before. It's called Carry On, from what I recall. And I can't find it anywhere. It's a really old episode, but it's a really funny episode. And I remember it very fondly, kind of sticking with me, because he's like, I don't remember if the whole episode revolves around this story, but it was basically a story of like some sort of a roadside check that it was like a sobriety field check or something like that. And he passed it. And the police officer, towards the end of the encounter, told him to carry on, and it was just really funny. You had to be there, I guess. But in any case, I'll be listening to Dixon Janes and organizing all my stuff so I can leave tomorrow. And I think I am going to look into possibly staying at the Ember Hotel. I think there's no point to rush out. If I'm trying to kill time anyway, and the weather's going to be bad, I don't need to rush out into the rain. A 20-mile bike ride in the rain and on the coldest day that I've had in a while does not sound very nice. So, yes, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there for now. Um, I've always tried to make podcasts after my adventures, so to speak, and I just lose enthusiasm so much for like reporting the doldrums of like my normal days, and I've been here long enough now to where I really am really wanting to be back on the road, but can't, But I guess I should say, I've made pretty good plans now. I was just describing it to another friend, and so I guess I can go ahead and describe that here just for posterity, just to see how much things end up changing between now and whenever these tentative decisions come into the foreground more so. But from here, I plan to bike to Grand Junction to visit my sister, and then from there, I plan to generally go to Las Vegas, Nevada. Never been there before. Don't really think I'll stay in Las Vegas. It really depends on what time of day I would be arriving, but I would certainly like to see it. I've been through Nevada before, but never in the heart of the belly of the beast. So that'll be interesting. And then from there to LA, and in LA, I would like to see if I can find one of my favorite podcasters, in addition to the Scarborough dude, which is Dan Harmon. I know the bar that he at least historically used to frequent. He has moved since then, so maybe he's at a different bar these days, or maybe doesn't even go to bars at all. Who knows, but I would like to go to Little Dom's is the name of the restaurant. And apparently a lot of famous people go there, and so there's a chance that I could see him there, possibly. How's it going? And then from there, take the one up to San Francisco, and then from San Francisco, determine if there's anything lucrative there. And then, you looking for anything specific? Yeah, man. Had to pause that for a second. Someone came down the elevator, and I tried talking to them, but then I realized that they don't speak English, so oops. I also think it actually might have been the person who was asleep in my room, or not my room, but the room I'm staying in, Anyway, yeah, take the one up to San Francisco, explore the AI offerings up there, and if there's nothing lucrative or advantageous about me being there, take a train to East Texas and then bike back to the East Coast. Hopefully be around the Key West area around New Year's, but I mean, with the pace that I have, given that we have October, November, and December, I don't think there's any way that the rest of this trip would take that long, considering I did 1,700 miles in less than a month. Or, yeah, it was less than a month. It hasn't even, on the 25th it'll be a month. But, yeah, that's like my general plan, and very much so subject to a lot of change based on whatever I come across or come upon. And yeah, so for now, I will leave it. And yes, I hope you're having a pleasant evening, and love you. Bye.